Melanie. I'm here with a October TBR. So after reevaluating and reflecting on, there's my dog, but after reevaluating from last month, I read 6 out of 10 of the books that I picked out for my TBR, which is not that bad. I'm gonna be honest with you, not that bad. So, of course, this month again, I picked a very ambitious choice of books, but I made sure I had a lot of diversity with like genres and stuff because I was reading a lot of mystery last month and I loved it. So I wanted to make sure I had a little bit of that this time. Let me count to see how many I got. Gideon. All right, so I have another 10 books this month. I think I read about 8 books, maybe 9 in September. I picked out 10 books. One of them is a nonfiction, which I also did not count, but I might as well at least start with the nonfiction. I started this last month, but I know for a fact that I'm not gonna finish this book in one whole setting. But this is my first book, nonfiction, that I started to read. I think I got like a few pages in and I haven't picked it up again. But this is definitely a crock pot of a book. But anyway, I wanted to do the honorable mention out first. But yes, in case you didn't know, my name's Melanie. This channel is more so like me being a librarian almost, and just sharing what I'm reading and hopefully building my library myself. So yes, at this point in time, I will show you what I got for this month. I want to start with the 2 books that I've already started to read this month. And that is The Bookshop on the Corner and Belladonna. This one's by Adeline Grace, and then this one by Jenny Colligan. This book has, I don't know how I got this book. I think this was like a book that somebody left out and I said, you know what, let me try it. And I'm not gonna lie, I think I'm like 80 pages in. It's really good, but I'm excited to read it. That's what I had on my list that I picked out for this month. It's not a book that I would gravitate towards. Definitely a literary fiction, so this is one for the literary fiction category. Let me kind of give you a synopsis of this book. So literally it's about a girl. She's a librarian, but as the back of the book calls her, she's a literary matchmaker. So what that really means is she likes pairing books to each specific person. So she apparently is about to lose her job and she's thinking of a backup plan. And her backup plan in this case is to create a mobile bookshop. And you're following that plot. That's pretty much, you find that about the main character in the first like 20 pages. So, and it's on the back of the book, that too. So that's one for our literary fiction category for this month. My next one is Belladonna. It is a fantasy. I think I'm also 80 pages in. It's crazy because I read both of these, started them like late last night into early this morning as well. But Belladonna is, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still kind of trying to get the gist of this book. Is it bad? No. But I don't really understand it. I know it's fantasy, but it's a different sort of fantasy I'm working with. I'm gonna quickly read the back so you kind of get the gist of it. So it says, orphaned as a baby, a 19-year-old Sigma has been raised by a string of guardians, each more interested in her wealth than her well-being. And each has met an untimely end, meaning they all die. Her remaining relatives are elusive hawthorns, an eccentric family living in Thorn Grove, an estate both glittery and gloomy. Its patriarch mourns its late wife through wild parties while his son grapples on the control of his family's reputation. Meaning everybody's like mourning the loss of the mother and the son's the only one trying to hold everything together. In reality is she can see spirits. All right, so she can see spirits. One of them, the person she sees, which is death, it's a person. You see that on the back of the book. That's the most confusing part, is to think of death as a person. So this is one for the fantasy realm, Belladonna, Adeline Grace. Next one is Song of Achilles. I read like the first 2 pages, maybe 5 in September, but I never actually read it. I bought this when they had their book sale on Target. Song of Achilles, it's a Greek fantasy. It's supposed to talk about like the bond and the friendship between these 2, Achilles and what's his friend's name? And, oh my gosh, what's his name? In Patroclus. But you're looking at the friendship between the two. I'm very confused because I was looking up if it's like the friendship between the two characters or if it's a relationship between the two characters, and I'm not quite sure. Most people who've read this have talked about it being like a relationship between, you're looking at it between Achilles and Patroclus. But then I started seeing how like people were saying like this is like LGBT supportive book, and I'm like was very confused. So I'm wanting to see what relationship goes on between these two, because not only Reddit did not help, but Goodreads did not help. So this falls under, this is fiction. Is it fantasy? Probably. Greek mythology. This is also another book that was on my TBR for last month, but I didn't get the chance to read it. It's called Lightmark. It is a really short synopsis. I'm gonna read the back. Every 100 years, the island of Lightmark appears for only 100 days to host a deadly game where the rulers of the 6 realms fight to break their curses and win unparalleled power. Each ruler has something to hide. Each curse is uniquely wicked. To break them and save themselves from their realms, one ruler must die. To survive, the Isla crown must lie, cheat, and betray, even as love complicates everything. So this is I also saw this at Target. This is a fantasy book. Don't really know much, I'm not gonna lie. Somebody recommended it and I'm like, I'm into fantasy romance, want to try it out. I didn't get to read it last month. I didn't start reading till like the end of the month. So in reality, I read, I think 7 books in like a week span. So the hope is that I can get to this book this month as well. Once Upon a Broken Heart. I know that you should be reading the Caraval series before this. Okay. Once Upon a Broken Heart. I know everyone said you should probably read the Caraval series before, but I'm not gonna lie. The reason why I didn't start reading this is because somebody said I needed to read the Caraval series before, and that sounded like a lot of work. And I don't want to do that. But this is by Stephanie Garter. A lot of people have read it. Honestly, I tried listening to audiobook of Caraval. I might read it before this, but in reality, to read a whole series before reading this series sounds like a crap ton of work for no reason. But this is also on my TBR. It literally, I don't know much about this book, I'm gonna be honest, other than it's amazing and people love it. It says, Angeline Fox had always believed in true love and happy endings until she learns that the love of her life will marry another. She's desperate to stop a wedding, and she strikes a deal with the Prince of Hearts, and she'll soon discover what she's bargaining with is a dangerous game. I shortened it, definitely, but sounds pretty cool. I actually might like this one. I really think so. So that's that. What I was also thinking about with my TBR, this is also in the fantasy realm. I wanted to kind of finish off some series that I've started this year, because we are approaching the end of the year. We have 3 more months, October, November, December, and I want to finish a lot of my series. I don't like my series being split, but I started to do that so that I can separate the books that I've read from what I haven't read, and I can visually see it and then also motivate myself. So here's also another one. It starts with us. I read It Ends With Us in August, and I just haven't finished the second one. I most likely will listen to this on an audiobook or read it because I think the last time I read It Ends With Us, I read it in a sitting, a couple hours, and I was done. So this should be a quick book, and I think it'll be at least just complete the series of, is it called It Ends With Us series? But whatever this series is, I want to just be done with it. This is a romance. So we're in the one category for our specifically romance. Everything else is like fantasy. Here's another one, An Echo in the Darkness. This is the second book in the Mark of the Lion series by Francine Rivers. I actually have been enjoying Francine Rivers. This is my 3rd book by her. I read the first book. It was really good. I rated it a high 4 stars, 4.5 or 4.75, whatever you want to call a high. It's not a 5-star. The first book wasn't a 5-star, but it's left me on a cliffhanger enough that I want to read the second one. This is definitely a romance. It is a biblical-based romance. I enjoyed it. I really enjoy Francine Rivers' books. It's just, her books are just very long. And if you've noticed, all of the books I've picked this month has been long, and I thought about redoing it, but by the time I picked up all the books I wanted to read, the page numbers did not match. And I was kept looking back at my shelf and I'm like, I just want to stick with this. So we'll see how many of them I get to. Because this book alone is like 450 pages and it's really small font. So yes, we got that. Never by Jessa Hastings. I think I want to read this first before I try to read her Magnolia Park series. Mostly because I'd rather start off with her least liked book and then work her way up so that I don't get real disappointed. But I read this, I bought this in the summertime and it was on sale. I think it was like $7. So I was like, you know what, let me grab it while it was on sale during Prime Day. And that's why I got that. Will I get to it? Have no idea. But this is a fantasy book. I'm in the mood for it. I feel like I have a lot of time this month to read and I'm in the mood to read. So I'm going to take it. Take every chance I get. I just bought this book, In Search of a Prince. It's a romance book. To kind of go back, this is a Peter Pan retelling, so you have an idea. This one here is how should I describe this book? This is a faith-based book. It's a Christian romance, and it's kind of talking about, it's following the life of a African princess, and I think it's pretty cool. I don't want to spoil too much of it. This is also a big book. I'm thrown off, man. At this point, I've picked so many big books, but I want to read them. So we'll see. We'll see. But In Search of a Prince is one of them. This is a definite romance, not fantasy. I don't think it's fantasy. And the last book I want to try is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I think this, I'm pretty sure, is a book placed in war, which I might not like this book, but I just found it and I was wanting to see if I liked her writing, to see if I would like a shade darker or a shade of magic, I think is what it's called. I want to see if I like her writing before I just full send and buy it. And I saw this at the thrift store and I was like, you know what? Let me try it, see if I like it. And if I don't like it, it's okay. So I'm going to try this. This is my last book on my TBR for this month. 10 books. It's pretty ambitious, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. I don't think I have a book here. Let's see. This book has like 300 pages, 320. And then the corner on the bookstore probably has like 320 as well. Let's see. Yeah, 320. These are my smallest books. All the other books are like pushing 400, 430. Where we got here? What is this one? This is 370, 430, 400. I'm estimating in case you didn't know. There's no page numbers. Oh, sorry. I'm blind. There are page numbers. 400. Let's see what we got. This is 370, 400, and I think this one's also 400 as well. 370. So yeah, we're pushing a lot. We're pushing a lot of books, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see what books I read this month. Is it ambitious? Yes. Am I thrilled to have like a mixture of different books, have some fantasy? Yes, because last month I really wanted to read some fantasy, but I ran out of time. By the time I got interested in fantasy, the month was done. So I'm just going to kind of carry that on into October, and that'll be it. So yes, that's all I have for you guys today when it comes to my October TBR. The goal is to keep you all updated with what I think about all these books and my thoughts, my opinions. So I'm excited. Is the goal to finish every single book on this TBR? At least more than half, like 60%. I would love to read 6 of these books on this TBR. I don't have anything on my Kindle that I'm like really excited to read either. So physical copies might be it for the month. So yes, thank you for watching this video. I will keep you all updated on what we're reading this month. And you have a great one.